Hello, hello, hello. What's up, Facebook? There goes my lighting. This your girl T Renee. We are live day 14 of my 30-day Facebook Live challenge. And it just dawned on me while I was sitting here looking at the clock, waiting for it to strike 5:30, that I don't think I ever shared with you guys why I'm doing this challenge. So I'm going to tell you. And then I'll tell you my fun fact. And by then, maybe there'll be some people on and we can get busy with our topic. So, hey, Keita Boo. The reason why I'm doing this challenge, and forgive my scarf, I'm still looking like Wolverine underneath there, but I plan on doing my hair tonight because I don't have any homework. So, a couple of months ago, I was, shut up, Marquita. I was in this group, and the administrator of the group challenged everybody to a 30-day Facebook Live challenge. And some of you guys may remember that I think I did 2 videos, and that was it. And then I stopped, and I got busy with school and with life and blah, blah, blah. So I felt some type of way because everybody else completed their challenge, and, people were giving good reports, and, they were saying how doing the challenge changed their lives, and it also helped other people. So I was like, I need to get my butt in gear, and I need to really do this because it had been on me to do it anyway. Myself and my accountability partner had been talking about it, and we kept saying we were going to do it. And then we were going to do Periscope, and then we were going to do Facebook. Like, we just kept battling back and forth. So I finally decided that I'm going to do it. And if for nothing else, just for myself. Uncle Carl, I miss you. So I decided to do it. And I didn't think, that so many people would be watching me. I mean, I get a few likes here and there. I usually get really a lot of likes on my pictures when I post, but I didn't really think that I would have that many people watching me live. So I kind of felt like I was going to be talking to myself a lot of the time, which is okay because I do talk to myself, and yes, I answer myself. I have to keep myself in check. I have to put myself in the position that I put you guys when I'm giving you advice. I have to take that same advice for myself. So that is why I'm doing this challenge. And I do have to tell you guys that yesterday I was really feeling really bad. Like I told you, I wasn't feeling well at all, and I'm still not at 100% physically. However, after talking to you guys, I felt better, and I slept good last night, and I woke up this morning in good spirits, and we had a pretty good day in lab today. Can you believe it? So thank you. If for nothing else, thank you guys for tuning in to me and letting me share my craziness and my antics and my views on life with you guys. I don't take it for granted at all because I know that you could be doing anything else with your time instead of sitting here watching me talk. So again, thank you to everyone who has been tuning in live, and to all of you who catch the replays, because I do see the view counts. Now, I know I can be a little long-winded sometimes, but blame that on me coming from a family of preachers. So, yeah, I will try not to be that long-winded today because I think I'm going to go to the store with Honey Love when he gets off so I can buy me some earphones because I lost. Y'all, my connection, it got jacked up. So anyways, I'm back. So today's fun fact. Remember yesterday, at the close of my video yesterday, okay, I don't know what's happening here. Let me scoot over. It's saying bad connection. So anyway, remember yesterday, my mom had mentioned about using the right words when you're talking to your kids about good touch and bad touch, about their private parts. So today's fun fact is when Anthony, aka K1, was about 8 years old, I was picking him up from school, and then I picked up DJ and Jaden from daycare. And so we were riding home, and Anthony was like, Mom, I was asking how was their day, blah, blah, blah. So Anthony's like, Mom, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, sure. What is it? And he was like, what is masturbation? And I was like, oh my God, to myself, like, seriously, dude, you're 8. Like, why are you talking about this? And I'm like, did something happen that I need to know about? And he was like, no, just answer my question. I'm like, well, why do you want to know? And he was like, well, because this boy at my school was talking about it. And I'm like, really, at 8? Like, these kids is talking about masturbation at 8 years old. Now, this was in 2009. Okay. So I'm like, well, what did your friend say that masturbation was? So Anthony said his friend told him that the friend's dad said masturbation was when you watch the same TV show over and over again. So I fell out laughing. I was like, seriously? Like, I was like, oh my God, Anthony, no, that's not what masturbation is. And he was like, well, tell me what it is. And I was like, well, I'll tell you later. I don't want to talk about it right now. So, but I was like, but it has something to do with sex. So this fool DJ, who was only 4 at the time, in the backseat talking about what got to do with sex. And me and Anthony turned around like, what? I'm like, how does he know? First of all, how does he even know how to spell sex? Who taught him how to spell sex? Okay, and he was only 4. Now, they was going to a Christian daycare. Okay, well, the daycare owners was a pastor and first lady, and I know full well they wasn't allowing my children to talk like that. So I was completely floored and shocked and did not know how to handle that situation, especially with DJ's commentary. So I told Anthony he and I would talk about it later. And so we did. And then I called his dad and I was like, I told him the story. Of course, he fell out laughing. And so I told him, you need to talk to Anthony about this. So, yeah, that's the fun fact for today. So, parents, I know you may be uncomfortable with talking about sex with your child. However, before you give them misinformation, I think it would be better if you just say, I can't talk about this right now, and leave it at that until you're ready, because giving them misinformation causes them to go to school and then spread these untruths to other children. And this is how we get our kids all mixed up and confused. Now, it looks like my connection is going well because my live viewers count is going up. So, if anybody is watching, please comment and let me know that you can still hear and see me, because I went out like twice and I hope that it doesn't mess up the video. So yeah, let's see. I'll wait a few more minutes. Let me tell you guys what else happened today. I was on the elevator just right now coming to the apartment, and one of the neighbors, he got on the elevator and he was like, did you see the mailbox? And I was like, no, because now our mailbox has been broken a couple of times and people's mail was hanging out and everything. So I thought that's what he was going to say. But he said there was like 8 or 9 failure to pay notices on the mailbox. Now, I don't know why that's funny, but it's funny to me that they put them on the mailbox. And I guess, I don't know if he looked at it, because he was like, one of them was for like $1,800. So I'm looking at this dude like, well, did you open somebody's letter? Like, do they have the papers where you can see it? Now I want to go down to the mailbox and look and be nosy, right? Because I just want to see. But I'm like, I thought they put those papers on your door. Like, when they start doing that, putting it on the community mailbox, like, somebody gonna be mad about that. I would be mad if that was me. I would be going over to that office having a conversation. But then again, if I owe that much in rent, maybe I don't want to have a conversation with anybody at the office. So yeah, I thought that was pretty amusing. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on today's topic, which is forgiveness. Now, I wanted to, because you guys know I'm all about, sorry y'all, I hit the button, definitions. I don't know, I'm having technical difficulties today. So forgiveness, by definition, is the intentional and voluntary process by which a victim undergoes a change in feelings and attitude regarding an offense, lets go of negative emotions such as vengefulness, with an increased ability to wish the offender well. Now, I can't even remember the last time I looked at the definition of forgiveness. Over the years, we've kind of developed our own ideas of what forgiveness means. And, most of the time people will be like, oh, well, I forgive that person, but I don't have to talk to them. And, or they have all these other ways that they forgive people. However, reading that definition earlier, I was like, wow, that's, that really says something, because you have to intentionally and voluntarily want to not have any more vengeful feelings or negative feelings towards someone who has hurt you. So now, to be intentional, that means a lot in itself, because that means that you mean to do something, you plan to do something, like you stick with doing whatever that thing is. And then to volunteer to do something, is that means you willingly give yourself to whatever that is. So now you have to first be willing to give yourself over to the feeling of forgiveness, and then you have to be intentional with it. You have to really mean that thing. You have to be sure, that is what you want to do. And a lot of times we say that we forgive people and we really don't. We think that by not talking to someone anymore, or cutting people off, as y'all say nowadays, blocking people or whatever, that's your way of forgiving that person, but you're still harboring those ill feelings toward them. And what you don't realize is that you are causing yourself a lot of detriment, that you are doing yourself a disservice, and you're causing yourself to carry around some unnecessary stress, and it's literally eating away at your body. And so you wonder why, you're sick, or you have headaches, or you just can't function, or whatever. It's because you have all of this stress on you and you are not trying to release it. So the first thing that we need to do is, in a situation like I've talked about before, we need to own our responsibility in that situation, and we need to determine where did we go wrong, or what was our part, in whatever happened. And then once we acknowledge that, we need to first forgive ourselves for being, in that situation. We have to, check ourselves and say, okay, could you have done things differently? Was there anything that you said to may have triggered a different reaction? And then move forward. And then you do need to forgive that person, again, as it's always been said, not for that person, but for you. And just like I said, so that your body and your mind can be free, of those negative feelings. Like, you don't want to walk around with that. It's like a big dumbbell sitting on your shoulders, and it won't move because you won't move it. And it's because you're not forgiving people. You're not letting things go. Everything isn't meant for us to hold on to. There are some things that, yes, it's very serious. And yes, you can't just keep letting people walk over you, or you can't keep letting people hurt you. However, you still need to know that, this is about you. And at the end of the day, you are all you got. You have to live with you. So do you want to, walk around angry all the time? Do you want to walk around with your stomach hurting all the time and, whatever, because you're upset over something that when you really go back and you look at it through open eyes and you step outside the box and you look at the situation, you will see that thing really wasn't that big. I know there's been times where somebody has upset me and there was an argument that ensued because of this situation, and I was angry for days. It doesn't, I don't hold on to it for too long, but some things I had, right? And so I had to look at those things, and I had to look at myself, and I'm like, well, what did I say to make that person upset? Or did I cause the situation to escalate by what I said or my reaction? And so I had to really, look at those things and said, okay, I could have handled this differently. I could have maybe not said anything at all, because sometimes not saying something is the best decision, because you don't have to answer everything. You don't have to, and I'm the comeback queen. Okay. So if I'm saying this, y'all know that there's something to it, because I got an answer for everything. Okay. I do. I honestly do. Literally. Every time somebody says something, I can say something back. But I have learned that I don't always have to say something. And I just sometimes just sit and be quiet, because what's the point in me getting myself all riled up over nothing? It's so bad nowadays that even on social media, I just saw, and the post has been going around, I guess, for the last couple hours, where a young girl was killed by, I guess, her baby daddy's ex or something. I don't know. But this girl who did the shooting, or was, orchestrated this situation, she had a lot of bitterness in her. She had, some unforgiveness. And it was really for this man that, she was mad because he left her to, go be with this other girl, or whatever the situation was. And so she sought out to kill the girl. And, I'm like, wow, like, you really that angry? Like, and some people are trying to say, some psychological issues with her, and that could possibly be. However, judging by the words in her post, she was really angry, and she needed to forgive, and she needed to kind of deal with the situation. Like, okay, y'all not together no more. Let it go. Move on. You cannot force somebody to be with you, and harming their new mate isn't going to make the situation any better. It's not going to make that person leave them and come to you. Like, you going to be looking crazy. Like, just stop. We need to start really reevaluating and evaluating our actions, and evaluating how we are holding on to things, because it's really causing us to do some really horrible things. We are walking around angry every day. We Facebook beefing, we Twitter beefing, we Instagram beefing. Like, the shade room is staying in business because y'all not forgiving people. Y'all constantly arguing, and y'all arguing with strangers that y'all don't even know on these social media sites. And you getting angry, and then it's turning into people losing their lives. And it's like, what is happening within you? That's what that says to me, that there's something else going on inside of you that you need to deal with. And I'm pretty sure that forgiveness is at the top of that list, that there's some situations that you have gone through that you are still harboring these feelings. So now you taking out your stuff on everybody else, and that is not fair. It's not right. It is just not right at all. And it's really making this world, a not so happy place to be in. There is a lot of good, of course, but we tend to see the negative. Media clings to the negative, and that's what they push in front of our eyes. Just like I saw another post earlier today about Tamar Braxton had unfollowed Monica and Toya because they had appeared on The Real. And, people, of course, are like, oh, she petty, she this, she that. And I commented, I said, I don't think that's what it is. I think that situation, because of how it all went down, is still bothering her. There's still some hurt there. There's still some anger there, not at her friends, but at the show and their producers and how they handled her. And, I don't blame her for her feelings, because she's right to have whatever feelings she has. However, I do think that she needs to start on a path to forgiveness, because her friends, and because of how the media is spinning this story, now this is going to cause some rift between her and her friends, which is unnecessary. And now there's going to be more pain on top of pain, and now relationships are going to be, tainted, all because of Tamar's unforgiveness, right? Because she hasn't forgiven the show and what they've done to her and the people that were involved, and even the other co-hosts on the show. She's still harboring some ill feelings towards them, and so now she's reacting on those feelings. And yes, it may not be, the right thing to do. However, she is allowed to have her feelings, for some time. But then at some point we have to be adults, and we have to start the healing process, and we have to start learning how to deal with these things, and learning how to deal with them in a manner that will keep us, sane, and that will keep us fully functioning as adults. There's an exercise that my psychology teacher had us do a long time ago, and I also put this in my book, so if you have the book, you'll see it when you get to that part. And in the forgiveness chapter, I talk about this exercise. And so in this exercise, what he had us do was to choose one person that had really hurt us in our life, and we had to write a letter to that person. And we had to let out everything, how we felt. We were, got to be extremely blunt and say everything that we felt to that person in this letter. And then once we were done, we had to turn the paper over, and we had to respond to the letter as the other person. But we couldn't respond in a way that we wanted them to respond. We had to respond in a way that we thought that person would really respond to that letter. Now, this letter was not to be given to that person whatsoever. This exercise was for us to get those feelings out and then hear back from that person, right? And even if they didn't respond the way that we wanted them to, we got that response. And when I did this exercise, I chose a family member that had hurt me, and I wrote out everything that I felt, and then I responded like I felt that person would respond. And after the class was over, I really thought about it, and it really was like a weight lifted off of me, because I wasn't angry anymore. I was able to get it out. I was able to get it out freely without rebuttals from that person. I was able to say everything I needed to say. And even though I wasn't face to face with them, I still got it out. So it was no longer in me. It wasn't in my body anymore. It wasn't in my mind. It wasn't in my heart. It was gone. It was on that piece of paper. And of course, he collected the papers and he kept them. So I never got that paper back. Now, fast forward some 5, 6, maybe 7 years later, I happened to be in a room with this person that I wrote this letter to. And I came in, it was a group of people in there, and I came in and I spoke and to everyone. And then I ventured off to do something. And as I was doing that thing, that person walked up to me with tears in their eyes and said, "I know that we haven't always had the best relationship. And over the years, a lot of things have been said and done. But today, I am asking you to forgive me." And I was blown away, because I never, ever, ever, ever expected that person to come and say anything to me at all. I just wasn't. And that person cried and asked for my forgiveness and apologized. And I was like, okay, I accept your apology. I'm like, I forgave you a long time ago. Like, I'm so over that, but I do appreciate you coming to me and apologizing. And that moment, I was still in shock. And so I couldn't really process it right at that time. And, you know, I sat down with this person, you know, afterwards, and, you know, we shared some conversation, and I learned some things about this person that I had never known. And I probably never would have been able to know these things had I not been open, had I not forgiven that person already, right? And had I not forgiven them for everything that they had did and said to me, I wouldn't have been open to that conversation. I wouldn't have been open to that apology. That relationship would not have been repaired. Now, I don't talk to this person on a regular basis at all, but I no longer, you know, harbor any feelings, any bad feelings toward that person at all. So what I'm saying to you is, hi, mommy. What I'm saying to you guys is that, you know, even if you're not able to face that person to forgive them, you still need to forgive them. Do that exercise that I just told you about. Write that letter out, you know, and I even did one to myself. I wrote a letter to myself and asked myself for forgiveness for all of the things that I had put myself through. Because like I told you guys before, I've never done anything without a clear conscience. Every decision that I've made in my life has been thought through. I have made that decision saying, okay, Tanisha, you know what's going to happen after you do this. So are you down or are you not? And if I was down, I was down, and I did it. So I don't blame anybody for anything that has happened in my life, you know, if I had something to do with it, because I did it, you know, with my own free will. So I had to ask myself for forgiveness for a lot of things. And I did. And I took that letter and I threw it away. I mean, I burned it. Because, you know, don't just put it in the trash, because somebody could find it, or you may be tempted to go back in there and pick it up. So I would suggest you burning it responsibly or flush it down the toilet. Make sure you use biodegradable paper, though. Okay. But do it. Write it out. Because you may not get that opportunity. That person who hurt you so bad may not be alive anymore. So you'll never get that opportunity to face them. So you need to get rid of those feelings, though, because it's literally killing you. And, you know, my mother being the nurse, she's on this thread now. She can attest that, you know, stress can kill you. In the beginning of my book, I talk about my cousin Anitra, who passed away last year in June, you know, suddenly from a heart attack in her sleep. And the last conversation that I had with her 5 days before she passed away, she said these exact words to me. She said, T, my whole body is stressed out. And I was like, dang, girl, you know, I was like, okay, well, we need to figure something out. And she was just like, you know, she rattled off, you know, some things that was bothering her. And I was just like, wow. And, you know, when she passed, that was the first thing that came to my mind. And I thought, oh, my God, like, this is horrible, you know, that I couldn't help her. I felt bad because I couldn't help her, because there was nothing that I could do. Like, the things that was bothering her were completely out of my control. And, you know, it was up to her to deal with them, you know, but she just wasn't given that opportunity to do it. And so that, you know, was part of the reason that caused me to write that book, you know, to become stress free, because, you know, I lived that, you know, and those words constantly ring in my head that, you know, that's what she said. You know, her whole body was stressed out. And, you know, so to know that she was under that much stress, and then to, you know, just a few days later, you know, she took her last breath. So that struck a nerve in me and said that whatever else residual that I'm holding on to, I need to immediately get rid of it, because I don't want that to be the reason that I go out. You know, I don't want that to be how I live the rest of my life, completely under stress. And so I charge all of you to take a look at some of the things. You know, my doctor told me the other day, she said sometimes there's things that, you know, are going on in our lives that we don't realize is stress. And she was like, even you, she was like, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself with school. You're trying to do all these different things. She was like, so some things you need to calm down on. You need to, reprioritize so that you're not overworked, because this is what's causing part of your sickness. And I'm like, good Lord, I just wrote this book. I just wrote the book on it. I talked about everything that she was saying that, might be wrong with me. I mentioned that in my book, like seriously, because like I said, I did my research and I wasn't just talking out the side of my neck. And so I know, that what I'm saying is true. Like she was like, you need to really get it together because you're going to stay sick. And I've been sick for the last couple of weeks, like I said. And I know that, school is one thing that's on me. There's some situation, with the kids that's on me, and, the distance that's on me. So, yeah, I'm still, have some stressors, and there's some things that I need to sit down and really work through. And I'm sure that we all, if we sat down and take just a few minutes and look at our lives and see what we're going through, we'll see that there's some stress factors that we need to deal with. Now, granted, there are good stress factors like, the excitement of getting a new job or, winning the lottery. Like that's what they call good stress. But I'm talking about the bad stress. I'm talking about you worrying about things that you can't control. And I mean, there are some things that you can't control, but you're still worrying about them. And a lot of times it's because you're procrastinating on getting those things done. You're not doing the work. Like there's a situation that I'm dealing with right now. If I have not procrastinated on turning in one simple paper, this situation wouldn't be as bad as it is. So now I'm having to play backup and catch up and try to rectify it. But it's kind of like almost too late because I was expecting somebody else to do their part. And so I procrastinated on my part. And now I'm the one suffering. Right. So that is a stress factor that I'm dealing with. But I'm trying my best to not let it control my emotions. So I'm trying to deal with it. And I'm going to take a look, at my book again and do some more exercises because it helps, to write these things out. And, I need to bullet point some things and see what can I do in order to make things better. And that's what you guys need to do. If there's something that you're dealing with and that is causing you, some issues, then you need to go ahead and deal with that and take it one step at a time. Don't try to overload yourself because that's going to cause more stress. So take one thing at a time, start with the little thing, if it's you just looking at your house and you need to clean up. Okay, take an hour and, organize and re-straighten things out. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times I know myself, I get overwhelmed because I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that and I know I got to do this and that and that and that. And so then I'm like, and then I just don't do nothing. I get so overwhelmed and then I just lay down and then nothing gets done but me playing my video game on my tablet. So then I'm mad the next day because now all this stuff I wasted 6 hours doing nothing but watching TV and playing my game when I could have gotten the laundry folded. I could have gotten the dishes washed. I could have ironed my uniforms for the week. I could have wrote some more pages in my book. I could have done all these things in that 6 hours that I sat there doing nothing except for stressing over what I had to do. It could have been a better situation. I could have alleviated all that from myself and then the things could have gotten done. But instead, I took the lazy way out and I allowed the stress to control me. And so now I'm even more stressed because I have more work to do because now another day has passed and now more laundry has been washed and more dishes have piled up in the sink, right? So it's a constant cycle. And if we don't catch it in the beginning, then we'll find ourselves 2 weeks later and we sick and we got all this stuff staring at us and we don't feel like doing anything. We don't have the energy at all to do it. So start today and look at what you have going on in your life. Look at your job, look at school, look at the kids, look at your mate, look at whatever it is that you have going on and see if there's anything in there that is causing you any tension or stress, and start working on it today, because you don't want that thing to escalate or to fester and, to go even deeper than what it needs to go, and then you're going to find yourself worse off than when you started. So let's do better, and let's work on our forgiveness. And again, like I said, it needs to start with yourself first. You need to forgive yourself first for everything that you've done that was detrimental to your own life and to others. And once you start there, then you can start spreading abroad. And again, you're not going to always be able to face that person who hurt you. You're not going to always, get the opportunity to have them apologize to you. So don't look for it. You need to do this thing for you and you only. And then if you have a family in your home, you need to do it for them too, because your stress is making your attitude ugly and nasty, and now that's being put off on them, or it's making you lazy and stay in your room, and then now they not being able to spend any quality time with you because you in your room stressed out. Okay, or you in the hospital now because you done stressed yourself to the point to where now you sick. So all of that has a direct reflection on those that are closest to us, and more so ourselves. So we need to make sure that we are reevaluating those things in our lives and seeing where we can change things. And I'm not saying start cutting folks off left and right, because that doesn't do anything all the time. Yes, sometimes that's what you need to do. But first, evaluate the situation and see if it can be repaired. See if you can change whatever the dynamics of that relationship are for the better before you just decide to cut that person off. So I'm going to go because it's 6 o'clock and I need to take care of this hair. But before I go, I want to read to you what my Uncle Carl said. He said, forgiveness is the reset button for life. Clean the files. It's taking up too much memory and it makes you run slow. Slow people are slow. Don't blow up. Uncle Carl has spoken with love that don't stop. Now, that's a perfect way to end this session. So clean up your files today. It's taking up too much memory and it's making you run slow. So Mama says, clean it up. This is your girl, T. Renee. This is day 14, 30-day Facebook Live Challenge. Thank you all again for watching, for being here. Again, I'm always here available if you need help, if you need to talk. If you have a topic that you would like for me to discuss, go ahead and let me know and I will talk about it, because we have 16 more days. So I will talk to you guys later. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. And again, let's start today with forgiving. Start with you. Look in the mirror, forgive yourself, and work on anyone and anything else. All right. Love you guys. Bye.